It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Icy Wolfie.
Bean gets a taste of dark Gaia energy. Should we all run or watch this freak show continue?
You can run, but you can't escape the blast radius.
No.
He doesn't look particularly different, but those Gaia bombs are going to be gigantic.
I'm assuming that nowhere on the planet is safe.
I mean, he's just walking around with a 30-meter bomb hovering above his hands going, da 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 da.
Oh, no. Terrifying. As if we didn't need any more holes. As if the Earth needed more holes in it. Fang, Bark, and Bean get stuck somewhere and have to figure a way outside, with the twist of Rough and Tumble being stuck alongside them. Who climbs out first?
Well, if you can climb out, there's clearly a way out. If they're stuck somewhere and they have to figure their way out, Bean's going to offer the shortest and quickest option, which is blast a way out.
Yeah.
And once they've wrestled him to the ground because they would all be caught in said blast, then they'll figure something out from there.
I was going to say, that's not going to work.
I mean, Fang might try to signal the Marvelous Queen or use its radar if it's there, but, they may be in a place where that radar ain't going to do nothing for them. So, ultimately, there will be enough squabbling that Rough and Tumble and the hooligans decide to go their separate ways. Maybe Bean on his own way to, excavate his own exit, but whether or not any of them get out or they all get caved in, coin toss.
I'm just imagining them climbing over each other constantly, but they're not able to get to the edge. They're just like, let me up there, let me up there. They're just climbing onto each other just over and over. Just keep getting to the top and then slipping back down. And it's like, this isn't working. But they just keep doing it because, what other ways are there? They're not too bright. Sonic and the Black Knight? Nah, it's Bark and the Black Knight. How does our silent friend fare with a sword?
It's not his favorite implement. Arguably, he has longer reach than the blade does, but you know what? If there's evil afoot and the talking sword says that it needs to be smote, then he'll get to it.
He will.
Maybe not as swiftly or as acrobatically as Sonic, but again, that reach. He's going to, if he doesn't hit you first, he's going to slash you. And if you survive that, you're going to get pile drived. So yeah, he'll be fine.
Be a different game, though, if it were just silent. It's Caliburn talking the whole time and no sass back. Weird.
I think he would appreciate Bark's stoicism.
Maybe, but he might also get kind of tired of just talking to himself the whole time. It's more like a Zelda game, I guess, huh? If Zelda had a talking sword, which I guess would make it Skyward Sword. So
now I'm imagining Bark making those shrill Link noises. Yeah, ha!
Bark doing the Link sounds. Yeah. The hooligan gang get together to start a band in order to put food on their plates. What kind of music do they play? Do they last long to get any traction? Kyle can offer an insight for the type of music as well. I
imagine the Marvelous Queen has some kind of electronica setup in there because why not?
Bark is lead vocalist.
Bark's just sitting back there, with bongo drums.
Okay, we'll go with that.
And, Bean's got something that doesn't mesh with any of it. I don't know, maybe like a sitar or some kind of old English instrument they don't even make anymore.
Yeah.
He's very good at it. But
an accordion.
That one seems weird alien. It's just too on the nose.
Too on the nose. Well, still.
What's the name of the thing where it reads the positions of your hands? And theremin? Thank you.
Theremin, yes.
There you go, theremin. Because if anybody's going to just be waving their hands around making noise, it's going to be Bean.
Same.
And honestly, it works out for them because after about 5 minutes, somebody just gives them money to make them stop. And they move on.
That works. Would Fang be the type to smoke cigars for the heck of it?
I could kind of see him chomping on a cigar back in the day.
Only candy cigars. Just like how his gun doesn't use real bullets. It's only a cork gun. Candy cigars.
Just like snips off the front with that big old snaggle tooth and goes straight away to it. Lights the match off that tooth.
Yeah. Makes enough sense to me. Which of the three hooligans would have the most insecurities?
Fang.
Well, yeah. He's like the only one of the three who would have any insecurities, I think.
Bark is a little conflicted because he's not a bad guy. He just tends to hang out with bad people for whatever reason. So I believe there's a degree of moral conflict there. Bean is 100% comfortable with himself and everything he does. So he's fine. He's pure distilled himself.
Yeah. Bean does not question anything.
Like Fang has, enough insecurities that, I don't know, banking joke here. He's the poster child for self-depreciation and ego. Is he compensating for something? Yes, everything.
Yes. Bean finds himself among other cartoon ducks, which includes Daffy, Donald, Darkwing, etc. How do these other ducks take Bean's explosive measures?
Well, not to rain on your parade, but Bean is a woodpecker.
Bean is a woodpecker, yeah, which would make it all the more confusing. Like, this is supposed to be a duck convention. What are you doing here? My dad was a duck.
Yeah, maybe he's just trying to connect to his roots. There's Bean's one insecurity. I was born of a duck, but I'm a woodpecker.
Yep.
And if you really want to look hard at the continuity, his mother might be human. So
let's not.
Donald's not going to have time for his chicanery, and he's going to end up being blown up probably 50% of the time. Because who was born with all the bad luck? No one, but Donald Duck. Daffy will see an opportunity here. I'm going to go with zany Daffy over greedy Daffy for this one.
Yes.
To cause mayhem and chicanery, but he's going to be on the receiving end of it for once. And Darkwing's just going to flat out assume he's a supervillain and try to stop said chicanery and be blown up for it.
Well, yeah. He's used to that, though. And I mean, if we're talking about cartoon ducks who aren't ducks, what about Starline?
He lured them all there as some part of an experiment and then gets blown up for it.
Yeah, he would. He would. Yet another fine isekai adventure. If Fang, Bean, and Bark boarded the Mirage Express, what would their story roles be?
I imagine Fang is actively trying to kill Sonic. Like, that's the contract.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand why everybody else is in costume and trying to beat him to the punch. And Amy's put out because, number one, why are you not in any kind of themed costume? And number two, you weren't invited.
Yeah, they weren't invited. They invited themselves. I mean, of course.
Bean realizes that it's a costume party and, oh goodness, what direction does he go in? So many options.
Well, maybe Bark was invited, but not the other two.
Bean claims to be Bark's +1.
Oh, of course he does.
And he'll go as a soccer player because he's going to live his dream. And Bark didn't realize it was a costume party. He just thought it was a party, murder mystery party. So he just kind of scrambles, and he's a Sherpa. That's why he's got his scarf and hat. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
And Amy just kind of sighs and shakes her head. And he is legit kind of sad.
He's sorry he disappointed her. But
he did bring her a lovely ice cream cake. So.
Oh, good. And our last question on this mini. Fang knows how to control the good old Marvelous Queen, but could he fly other vehicles as well? For example, the Tornado?
I would imagine so. I don't know if he'd be able to fly it as competently as Tails necessarily, but for all of his Wile E. Coyote hijinks, he is capable when the plot requires. So he, maintains the Marvelous Queen. He knows how to outfit it and pilot it with whatever it's got added on. So I think he'd manage to figure out how to pilot other craft if need be.
Sure. I mean, as an amateur digital pilot myself, I can say that usually the controls are fairly universal. So generally what you do in one plane is, usually about the same as another. So now when you're talking about rotorcraft, that's a different thing. Helicopters and stuff, that's completely different. But for just regular planes, yeah, they pretty much translate all together. And on that note, we're done.
Thank you to Icy Wolfie for sponsoring this BumbleKast Mini. If you want one of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.